Sasha, Dee, I don't know who's who, but I can't wait to know who it is. Have a seat. Welcome to the team. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Okay, we've been going over the quarterly reports, and to be honest with you, we could be doing a little better, but we're doing great. But we could be doing better, all right? So the point is, we need to tap into some new demographics with an X. Write that down. Okay, Latinx. What is it? Now, who in the room is Latinx?
Latinx? Here they go.
¿Qué diablo Latinx? Do I even classify as Latinx? Last time I checked, I am Hispana Dominicana Latina del Bronx que le gusta habichuela con dulce de Washington Heights y morir soñando. What is this?
Latinx? I thought that was only for people that didn't identify as male or female. Do they mean all Latinos? Okay, I mean all Spanish people? Wait, not Spanish. Hispano? Hispanic X? Latinx? Maybe I could get down with that X. It's like BX all day, baby, what's good?
Latinx men.
Write that down. That's genius. I love it. All right, listen. We want to be in the Latinx business. Who are the Latinxes? What are your stories?
Hey, Dee, can you hear me?
Yes, bitch. I think being the only Latinas in the room strengthen our bond or something, like we got telekinesis or something.
Yeah, que el diablo. Yo, you know what I think? They think that we Latinx.
Yeah, I think we are. I think that's what it is.
You sure? How you know?
This is what they're calling us. I'm pretty sure they keep looking at us when they say it.
But who is us? Who are they?
Who are we?
Dee Nasty and Sasha Merci are Latinx stars. Stars. Write that down. Put a star next to it. How do we capture the Latinx essence?
I am not feeling these gringos. They always trying to lump us up as a whole. This is trash.
Listen, I get it. But look around. We the only Latinas in here. So we need to get on the same page. Let's get out of here. I gotta use the bathroom anyway. Pee!
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna pee. I got to pee.
Yeah,
We're gonna
okay.
be right back.
Yeah, write that down.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Like, Share, Dímelo. I'm Sasha Merci.
And I'm Dee Nasty. So every episode, we're gonna be breaking down the internet's most wildest topics. We're gonna share a couple people's opinions on it, and we're gonna break it down in our own voice, right?
Yup. Sasha and Dee stop.
That's it. Rickety-tee-tee-top. So let's get into it. For this week's episode, we're gonna be discussing Latinx. So it's a buzzword, you've been hearing about it more and more everywhere, but what is Latinx? A lot of people are still very unclear about it. So Latinx is basically just a gender-neutral alternative for Latino or Latina. And it's been introduced as early as 2004 in certain LGBTQ communities, but it didn't really gain any traction until recent years.
So before we go into the word Latinx, let's just start by trying to understand what is Latinx, what is Latino, and what is Hispanic?
Yeah, like how do we get here? Actually, there's a really good article by Yara Simone. She wrote it for the Mezcla, and it's actually breaking down how we got to Latinx, from Hispanic to Latino to Latinx.
What she was explaining is that at first it was Latino. Hispanoamericano was first introduced in the 1850s in San Francisco in the newspapers. Hispanic was adopted in the 1970s during the census because before then...
1980, actually.
It was 1980s? Why the fuck I keep wanting to say 1970s?
Because you will 70s as this. You like them flare pants and that big hair down the side. What's that?
You feel me? That's why I want to... So, before then, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans were considered white in the census.
Yeah, as per the census, they didn't have a box to check. They didn't want to check off white.
They didn't. What I learned was that the word Latino and Hispanic are for Spanish-speaking Americans in the United States. Outside of America, everyone is just identifying as their own.
That's really funny because that's funny you mention it because I didn't know that it was just for America. I thought it was everywhere because I went to Mexico last year and I went to Puerto Rico recently and nobody there uses the term Latinx. So that's why I was just so kind of confused about the whole situation because I'm like, I like the sentiment and I understand it, but the actual people that you're trying to describe aren't even using the word and aren't even privy to it. So that's very interesting for me to know because I thought that was something for all of us.
No, and I don't know if it was the media that was able to spread it all out, and I don't know because I've never went to Mexico and I've been like, oh, are you Latino? I've never went to Colombia and be like, are you Latina? I don't know. I haven't.
So what about Portuguese? Because that's in Latin America too.
Yeah, so
Brazilians speak Portuguese.
Yeah, so they're considered Latinos as well.
Okay.
Which gets more complicated. You know, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, what?
The thing is that why don't they feel the need to group us together? So like we're in 2020. I don't really necessarily feel that we need to be grouped in together as much. You know, there's so many English-speaking countries around the world, and they don't necessarily fall under the same umbrella. You can't really compare a Canadian to an Australian, an American to a Scottish person. So it is very different. I feel like the cultures within Latinos in the Caribbean versus Latinos in Central America and Latinos in South America can be very different. You know what I mean? Some people call it empanadas, other people call it pastelito, but there's differences.
I mean, there is differences, but there's also things that bring us together. And I'm not even gonna lie, like Selena.
We all love Selena.
I mean, we all love Selena. Dominican, Mexican, Colombian, whatever. You speak Spanish, you love Selena. You know what I'm saying? Like Camilo Sesto, like Juan Luis Guerra. Like we're talking about there is a culture that brings us together. Yeah.
But we are also very different, and we also have to realize that there's still a lot of colorism and a lot of racism within Latino and Hispanic communities as well.
Absolutely.
We didn't know about well, we knew, but a lot of the major media companies or just the world didn't really know that Latinos could be black too. We didn't know what an Afro-Latino was until Amara La Negra came up and Love It. What is it?
Love It Hip Hop, yeah.
I was gonna say Love It Basketball, throwback. But yeah, and that's something that's really crazy because if you go to DR, the majority of the people are black. So it's just something that is, it's a conversation that really isn't had. You look at media companies or magazines, and whenever they need the stereotypical Latina, it's like Sofia Vergara. It's a caramel girl with long wavy hair and some highlights, and talking like this and shit. And sometimes we do talk like that, it's true.
What do you want to be called?
I like D. That's my name.
So we posted a question on social media, and the question was, do you identify as Latinx? I had one of my followers, she was saying that she identifies as Latina, she's gay, she understands the term Latinx, but when she talks to her grandmother, she would tell her like, oh, I'm Latina. She wouldn't say, oh, somos Latinx, because her grandma would be like, ¿Qué es lo que tú me estás diciendo a mí?
¿Qué es lo que es eso? I remember there was a conversation that I overheard. Me and my cousin was playing house. I know it's fucked up, but we was kids. And we was kids though. We was experimenting though. Los primos se primen. Los primos se primen. No, but seriously, like I remember like listening to my aunt and my mom talking, and they were like, I think I saw Darlene and X. Let's use X for that one.
Darlene and X.
Playing around, like, and I was just listening, like, from behind the refrigerator, like, oh no, my secrets are out. And it was a girl cousin too, so I mean, maybe I am Latinx. I don't know.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You feel me?
I did get one that was actually really nice. It did pull my heartstrings a little bit though, so I'm not gonna lie. But somebody wrote that they do identify as Latinx because so many people are being discriminated because of their sexual identity or their gender. And it takes all of us together to help a sister or a bro out. Also, the way I was introduced to the term was at my job, and they also added that it also includes a racial aspect to it, which I've heard as well. So the X is also inclusive of Afro-Latinos as well.
They'll make you choose like, you're black or you're Latina. And it's just like, I'm both. Like, I'm not gonna choose that. Like, you guys need to understand that it's okay to be Latino and black. Like, or it's okay because growing up, the person that I identified with was Scary Spice from the Spice Girls. All right? All right? I am all for a word that does bring us together because we are a new generation of Latinos, right?
But my thing is like, what's wrong with Hispanic? I know a lot of people don't like the word Hispanic, but that was already grouping us, right? But I guess it's like paying an homage to the Spaniard colonizer. So everybody want to break the patriarchy right now. Everybody don't want to be white. So they want to get away from it as much as possible. So that's what I see happening, and I get it, but I just feel that it hasn't really been introduced to the masses. The only people that I know that are using it are younger people, Generation Z. What is it, Gen Z? Gen Z, millennials, and people that went to school.
Yeah.
And white people like, you Latinx? And I'm like,
What do you identify as?
I just say that I'm Dominican, but for some people that they don't know what a Dominican is, then I will go say Latina.
But never Latinx. Have you called
I
yourself
haven't
Latinx?
said it. It's such a new term for me, and I hear it a lot lately. I just don't know anyone like in close relationships that I speak to that actually say it.
Okay.
Like, I've never had a conversation with my cousin, my brother, with you. So it is a respectful term, and I understand that. But I also feel like it's a very cumbersome word. I think that the X doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue. And I'm just a little bit old school, son. I'm stuck in my ways. I like Latina and Latino. I don't know. But, like, is that fucked up of me? Am I being insensitive? Is this?
No.
Am I gonna get canceled?
The X kind of like got me a little hesitant,
Okay.
you know? But I am for it. And if it does really benefit people that are transgender and non-binary, then that's great as well.
It's a plus, yeah.
It's a plus. The X just makes it seem like they're just trying to, it sounds like a bug spray.
It's just not cute. If it was a
It's
cuter
not
word.
cute. Maybe that's a problem. The fact that it's just not a cute word.
Latinx. It's so loud and
Latin, get the
aggressive.
fuck out. That's what I feel like they're gonna say. Latin, get the fuck out of here. And the thing is, it's pronounced wrong. Because
is
the
it?
media is saying Latinx. Latinx. It's Latinx. Latinx.
I just feel that it was very abrupt. The way that it was introduced to the media and just to us was very abrupt. I feel like one day somebody just woke up, decided that's what they was gonna call us, and I'm like, I didn't get my invite to the town hall meeting. So
I don't want to offend anybody by calling them something that they don't want to be called, right?
Okay.
I am a Latina. You are whatever you want to be called. So let's have the conversation. If we don't like the word, then let's have a conversation with our mothers, our cousins, our friends, because I think that's the problem. The problem is that
conversation isn't being had.
It isn't being had. Like right now, if we go to our parents' house or we go to like our cousins, they don't even know what the heck we're talking about.
I don't know. It's also a little bit elitist to me because, okay, if you're someone who in recent years just graduated from college or any university, or if you're a scholar, if you work in media, you have definitely heard the term. But if you don't check any of those boxes that I just said, you would never know. Like, let's be real. It's a nice sentiment, and I'm all here for the kumbaya, but are you really going to go to your bodeguero and be like, hey, Latinx, ¿cómo estamos? They're not going to know what you're talking about.
People are giving me an aneurysm because I don't know how to identify as myself without getting a whole lecture on history, right? So if I be
That's
like,
the
I'm
thing.
Hispanic, oh, you can't call yourself Hispanic. Oh, I'm Latino. Oh, you can. It's like, can we just stick to a word then? Can we come up with a word after the show and then we stick to it?
If we're trying to just be gender neutral, why just not drop the A and the O and just make it Latin? Like, nobody is using Latin anymore. I think that died with Jesus. So I don't think nobody's, like, we could have just adopted that shit, right? We can't even really talk properly because we're trying to be so politically correct. But I'm like, I'm stumbling all over my words and shit, you know?
Man.
We already adopt other words in Spanish that are new and take them in like they're our firstborn babies. Like chapeadora. Chappy chappy, you know, I don't know if you're Dominican or something
Yeah.
like that, but it's a word that we use for gold
Yeah.
diggers. I don't know why we did that, like, we're not gold diggers at all.
We're not, but we know that word. We know that word.
Maybe. Anyway. But yeah, like, there's so many words that people use, like slang is new language. So I don't know, I think that people are just a little stubborn,
Yeah.
myself included, I'm not gonna lie, and it's, I'm old school, like.
When I first moved to LA and I have my curly hair and I'm speaking Spanish to Mexicans, they'd be like, oh, señorita, you speak the Spanish? You speak the Spanish? I was like, yeah. And they're just like, how did you learn? I'm like, well, I am from the Dominican Republic. And that's a Caribbean island that speaks. Oh, I'm not.
And the Bible too. I learned how to read and write in Spanish from the Bible.
That's great. That's great.
Shouts to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's a wrap for episode 1. So thank you guys for tuning in. And I want to know, do you identify as Latinx?
And remember,
Like, share, Dímelo!
Hey, getting. I love